Hello and welcome. In today's increasingly globalized world, effective communication across culture is more important than ever. In this video, we're going to dive into some fascinating concepts that help explain how people from different cultures communicate. We'll explore cultural dimensions, the difference between high context and low context communication, and why developing intercultural competence is so crucial in our diverse world. By the end of this video, you will have deeper understand of how cultural barriers shape communication styles and practical insight into how you can improve your own intercultural skills. Understanding cultural dimensions and intercultural competence is crucial for EFL teachers to effectively bridge cultural gaps in the classroom. According to Kumar et al. 2023, cultural dimensions has developed by scholars like Hosfeld and Hall provide frameworks for analyzing how different societies approach power, relationships, time, and communication. These differences directly impact learning styles, classroom dynamics, and students-teacher interactions. In line with Arriguso 2022, intercultural competence encompasses the skills, attitudes, and knowledge needed to navigate the cultural differences successfully. For EFL teachers, this means adapted teaching methods to diverse cultural contexts, understanding students' cultural backgrounds, and fostering inclusive learning environment. According to Hosfeld, 2011 cultural dimensions are frameworks that describe how different societies handle basic issues like social relationships, power distribution, and uncertainty. They help us understand and compare cultural values and behavior across societies. Power distance. How less powerful members of a culture accept that power is distributed unequally. For example, high power distance in many Latin American and Asian cultures. Individualism versus collectivism. The importance applies it on individual versus group needs. For example, individualism in the USA versus collectivism in Japan. Masculinity versus femininity. The value placed on assertiveness versus nurturing roles. For example, masculinity in Italy versus femininity in Scandinavian countries. Uncertainty avoidance, how cultures deal with ambiguity and uncertainty. For example, high uncertainty avoidance in Greece versus lower in Singapore. Long terms versus short terms orientation, how cultures prioritize future rewards versus immediate ones. For example, long term orientation in China versus short term in the USA. Definition intercultural competence refers to the ability to communicate effectively and appropriately across cultures, understanding the cultural difference and navigating them sensitively. Key skills, knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors that allow individuals to interact meaningfully in intercultural contexts. EFL students need intercultural competence to understand the cultural context behind language use. For example, idioms, humor, formal versus informal language. Develop empathy and respect for diverse perspectives. Avoid cultural missteps, for example, misunderstandings, inappropriate behavior. For example, in a high context culture, direct communication might be perceived as a rude. High context cultures that rely heavily on nonverbal cues, context, and shared experience for communication. For example, Japan, Ecuador. In Ecuador, it's common to rely on gestures and shared history to understand a message fully. Low context culture where communication is more direct, explicit, and depend less on context. For example, USA and Germany. In the USA, it is expected that information be clearly stated without relying on background knowledge. Different assumptions, values, and communication styles often lead to misunderstandings. Examples of miscommunication. A direct American speakers might offend a Japanese colleague with blunt feedback. In Ecuador, being too direct might be seen as a disrespectful. Miscommunication also arises from different interpretation of words, body language, and silence. In an interconnected world, understanding cultural differences is crucial for effective communication, especially when engaging with speakers from diverse backgrounds. Cultural dimension like individualism versus collectivism, power distance, uncertainty, avoidance shape how people perceive the world and communicate. For students, entering global environments, understanding this dimension is essential for fostering positive and respectful communication. Individualistic cultures prioritize personal autonomy and goals, while collectivist cultures emphasize group harmony and independence. Students should adapt their communication to fit these cultural norms, expressing personal opinions and individualistic cultures and showing humility in collectivist ones. Power distance concerns the acceptance of unequal power distribution. High power distance cultures favor hierarchy and respect for authority, while low power distance cultures value equality and informal communication. Students should adjust their approach depending on the culture's power. Distance to maintain respect and avoid misunderstanding. Cultures with high uncertainty avoidance prefer clear rules and predictability, while low uncertainty avoidance cultures embrace flexibility and risk taking. Students should provide structured communication in a high uncertainty avoidance cultures and be open to innovation and change in low uncertainty avoidance cultures. Intercultural competence is crucial for effective communication across culture, helping individuals understand and adapt to cultural difference to avoid miscommunication. Key cultural dimension like individualism versus collectivism, power distance and uncertainty. Avoidance shape communication, styles and behaviors. Interculturally competent individuals recognize this difference and adjust their communication approach accordingly, promoting clearer and more respectful interactions. Intercultural competence also fosters empathy, allowing individuals to appreciate others' perspectives and reduce stereotypes or biases. By being mindful of cultural values, students can navigate diverse environments more effectively, build trust, and minimize misunderstandings. In a globalized world, intercultural competence is essential for fostering positive relationships and successful communication in cross-cultural settings. Communication styles in Ecuador and English-speaking countries differ in several key aspects. Formality. Ecuadorians tend to be more formal, using titles and the formal, usted, in interaction, especially with authority figures. In English-speaking countries, communication is often more informal, with first names commonly used. Directness. Ecuadorian communication is more indirect, emphasizing harmony and avoid confrontation. In contrast, communication in the USA and UK tends to be more direct, with Americans in particular more open to stating their opinions. Nonverbal communication in Ecuador, physical touch and expressive body language are common, especially in social settings. In English speaking countries, physical touch is more restrained, with people maintaining greater personal space. Hierarchy. Ecuador has higher power distance with clear respect for authority and hierarchy. English speaking countries generally have lower power distance with more casual interaction across hierarchical levels. Personal space. Ecuadorians are more comfortable with close proximity in conversations, while English speaking countries value greater personal space, particularly in professional settings. Humor and small talk. Ecuadorians are used light-hearted humor and small talk to build rapport. In USA, humor is often more direct, while British humor tends to be sarcastic and dry. According to Arif and Yusuf, 2022, understanding cultural dimension and developing intercultural competence is crucial for EFL classes because it enhances the ability to communicate effectively and respectfully with speakers from diverse cultural backgrounds and being aware of this difference. Misunderstandings can be avoided by adapting the communication style and engage more in intercultural exchanges. Teachers play a key role in this process by creating supportive learning environments that embrace cultural diversity. by incorporating cultural awareness into lesson, encouraging open discussion about cultural difference, and fostering empathy. Teachers help students build an intercultural competence needed for successful communication. A cultural inclusive classroom not only enhances language skills but also promotes respect, tolerance, and global understanding. Okay, thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.